Hey everybody, I had an interesting experience today that I think was illustrative of the concept of dogma. It really showed in stark reality how humans are susceptible to following the decisions that others have made without really giving it a lot of thought. The school I work at was having a celebration for the first graders. I can't talk about a lot of details, but I'll give you what I can. Celebration for the first graders, little 5 and 6 year olds. And we had an event where we had this game going on. The whole arena was, everybody was there, and all the little first graders were in the middle, and we had 2 teachers on either side of the arena. One had a big, let's see if I can do my fingers, the big X, I can't quite do it, X, there we go. And the other teacher had a big O, and Maru and Batsu. And they were asking the first graders questions, simple questions that help them learn about our school. Like, what's the principal's name? And they would give a name, and the kids would run to the one side. Is that right? Or are we fooling them? Or is that an X? Or is that right? And they go to the O. And invariably, the same thing happened over and over. The kids were all so excited. They asked the question, and they'd all dash over, pretty much in a mass to one side or the other, and then one, So when their little kid would say, we have second thoughts and say, maybe the other side. I don't know if they actually thought about it, but maybe they just wanted to be different. And that person would charge off to the other side, from the O to the X, for example, or vice versa. And what would happen then is, this was the interesting part, was a few other kids, maybe they had doubts in their mind, or I don't think these kids were really thinking too much about it. They were just it was kind of a game. But I think if we can pull something away from this, though, a few of the kids would follow the lead of that first kid and follow them over there and go over there as well. And those 2 or 3 that went over would draw more over until it was like a little suction thing. You could see them. I was standing off in the distance, and I could see the one lead over, and they were almost in their wake, drawing more children along. Now this happened 5 or 6 times. They did this question and answer, this question thing, and they gave the answer in the end, and it was all a lot of fun, and there was no losers because we just started over, and they're just little kids, right? So we'd ask another question and the same thing, but the same pattern held over and over. And as I was watching this, I was really trying to imagine, the thought process, and probably not much of a thought process for small children. They're basically just having fun. But I think that adults and adolescents are likely to do the same thing to various degrees. And we have for little kids, we would just call that going along with a herd, or basically you're hitching your saddle to someone else's horse. I don't know, something. Maybe we wouldn't call that with kids. I made that up. I don't know. I think I made that up. But for adults, we have a definite term for that is quite apt and applicable, and one that illustrates just how susceptible we are to that phenomenon. The term is dogma. Dogma being the adoption of ideas, and not ideas necessarily, but conclusions and answers arrived at through the thoughts of others. That basically other people have taken the raw material, the evidence of the world, the observations of the world, done the hard work, the digestion in there, the cognitive digestion, to then basically break those things down into their constituent pieces, and then come up with a conclusion about it, an idea that says, I think thus and thus, I think this and the other thing, I don't know, X, Y, Z is true, E equals MC squared, God is great, I don't know what it is, Allah Akbar, whatever it may be. Maybe they can get it down, write it down in a book. Could be religious, it could be factual, it could be entertainment, it could be just about anything at all. But the people that do that work are like those little kids, those first little kids that decide are going to venture off and try something different. For the most part, those that follow along, that basically hitch their saddle to those other kids' horse, to use my poor analogy again, they're basically the ones that are adopting the dogma. They are looking at the example and trusting in the example, and trusting in the results proposed by these others, and getting on board. And we do that as adolescents, adults, and whatever else is there, kids, adolescents, adults. We do that. All of us do that. We children probably more in a playing manner. Adolescents more maybe perhaps in a rebellious manner. Perhaps more of it in a manner of wanting to fit in and be a part of some clique, some group, and the like. And adults out of for all of the above, for all of the former ideas, but also out of the simple fact that we're worn out. It's too hard to do it ourselves. We may be fatigued from the rigors of adulthood and the trials of life that wear us out, and it's much easier just to hitch our saddle to somebody else's horse, like I said, or maybe as adults or as adolescents as well, maybe even for children, out of fear of not knowing. And like I said in yesterday's blog, and I was thinking more on it today, Bill O'Reilly, who basically discounted what Richard Dawkins was saying. I'm alluding to the debate I watched them have, and Bill O'Reilly, who basically discounted what Richard Dawkins said because Richard Dawkins couldn't give him something to replace religion. He couldn't give him something else. And all Richard Dawkins could offer him was nothing. And that was simply impossible. That was unsatisfactory. It could not be unacceptable. That's what the word I'm looking for by Bill O'Reilly. So there we go. Dogma. The acceptance of the results found by another without necessarily running through the tester ourselves. Now that's one of the things that differentiates a lot of things from science. Science demands basically replication of whatever conclusion, replication of the test to come up with the same results before we even begin to take a hypothesis in the direction of a theory, or even further in the direction of a law. So there we go. I'm going to sign off for now. I'm almost home. Rain's coming down. My iPhone's getting wet. It's time for me to smile a little bit at the fun frolic of the first graders, as well as the more serious and perhaps more dangerous frolic and perhaps folly of those who are a little bit older. Okay, I'll leave you with a pleasant rice field in early spring. Take care. Garden in the rice field.